Today, we're going to unpack a pretty incredible biological story. It's one that happens every single month for about half the world's population. And I gotta say, understanding this complex, fascinating rhythm, well, it can be a total game changer.
Ah, yes, this question. We've all heard some version of this, haven't we? It's usually tossed around as a joke, but you know what? Behind that question is a powerful biological reality. So let's get into it. Let's really unpack the science behind the mood swings, the energy shifts, and this entire monthly cycle.
Because here's the thing, your monthly cycle isn't some burden you just have to deal with. Understanding this natural rhythm is actually like unlocking a superpower. Seriously, it lets you work with your body instead of against it. Once you get how hormones are influencing everything from your motivation all the way to your muscle density.
Okay, so let's start with the big picture. What exactly is this monthly rhythm?
Well, what's so fascinating is that it's not just one single process. It's actually two interconnected cycles happening at the exact same time. You've got the ovarian cycle, which is happening in the ovaries and is all about growing and releasing an egg. And then you've got the uterine cycle, which is happening in the uterus and is focused on getting the place ready for a potential pregnancy. They are totally linked and talking to each other every step of the way.
So who's running this whole performance? It really comes down to four main hormones. Think of FSH as the one that gets the party started. Then there's estrogen, who I like to call the body's interior designer, building up that uterine lining. LH is the star of the show, triggering the main event. And then you've got progesterone, the crucial supporting act that keeps everything stable and ready. It's this incredible hormonal dance.
All right, let's break this dance down, starting with the very first act, the follicular phase. This is all about growth and preparation.
So the cycle officially kicks off on day one of your period, which is also called menstruation. At this exact moment, your estrogen and progesterone levels are at rock bottom. This hormonal drop is the signal for the uterine lining to shed, and that's your period. It's also why you might be feeling super low energy, crampy, and bloated. Estrogen helps boost mood-regulating stuff like serotonin, so when it's low, you really feel it. But here's the amazing part. Even as the old lining is on its way out, your body is already getting ready for the next cycle. That follicle-stimulating hormone, FSH, is telling the ovaries to start growing new follicles. You can think of them like tiny little houses for eggs. And as these follicles grow, they start making estrogen. This rising estrogen then signals the uterus to start rebuilding its lining all over again.
And this is where the magic really starts to happen. As that estrogen rises after your period, it gives a nice boost to all those feel-good neurotransmitters. And that's why your energy suddenly comes back. You might feel happier, you might feel physically stronger, and mentally just sharper. This is often the time of the month where you feel like you're completely on top of your game.
So, how can you lean into this energy surge? Well, our source, Arva, suggests it's a great time to fuel your body with foods rich in vitamin E, like yams and leafy greens. And since your energy is peaking, it's the perfect time to go for those more intense workouts, like HIIT or a good swim.
Okay, now all of this is building towards the biological climax of the entire cycle. It's time for ovulation, the main event.
So as that follicular phase keeps going, one dominant follicle pretty much outgrows all the others and just starts pumping out a ton of estrogen. This causes the estrogen levels in your body to rise and rise and rise until they hit their absolute peak.
And here's the crucial moment. That super high level of estrogen acts like a trigger. It sends a message to the brain that causes a rapid, massive release of another hormone, luteinizing hormone, or LH. This is what's known as the LH surge. It's a fantastic example of a positive feedback loop in biology, where more of one thing causes a huge spike in another.
This LH surge is the direct cause of ovulation. About a day later, it makes that dominant follicle rupture and pop, out comes a mature egg. The egg then travels into the fallopian tube, which is the spot where fertilization can happen. This whole period, by the way, is your fertile window when the chances of conception are at their highest.
And what does this feel like? Well, a lot of people report a huge surge in confidence and sex drive right around ovulation. Your senses might even be sharper, like you can see, taste, and smell things more intensely. It's a time of peak biological readiness, and often peak confidence. To help your body out during this time, our source recommends eating cruciferous vegetables like broccoli and cauliflower, which can help your body process all that estrogen. And hey, your energy is still high, so it's a great time to keep up with those intense workouts and maybe even throw in some strength training.
So after the main event, we move into the next act, the part where the body prepares for what might come next. Welcome to the luteal phase. Okay, so after releasing its egg, that empty follicle doesn't just disappear. No, it gets a new job. It transforms into a little structure called the corpus luteum. The whole point of the corpus luteum is to produce progesterone, which is the hormone that makes the uterine lining really thick, stable, and cozy, perfect for a potential pregnancy. These high hormone levels also send a stop signal to the brain, so no new follicles start developing.
Now, this is the phase most of us associate with PMS. Those hormonal shifts, especially the rise in progesterone and then the fall of estrogen, can mess with those feel-good brain chemicals like serotonin. This is the real biological reason behind things like moodiness, intense food cravings, breast tenderness, and bloating. If you're feeling that, it's a huge sign you're in your luteal phase.
During this time, your body might be screaming for more carbs, and our source suggests just listening to it. Foods like pasta and potatoes can be really comforting. As your energy starts to dip, it's a good time to switch to more moderate workouts, like yoga or Pilates, as your body starts preparing for your period.
And that brings us right to the end of the cycle, where the body has to make a choice. It's a fork in the road.
So, if the egg isn't fertilized and no pregnancy happens, the corpus luteum starts to break down. This causes both progesterone and estrogen levels to just plummet. That sudden hormonal crash is the final signal for the uterine lining to begin shedding. And just like that, we're right back at day one. A new cycle begins.
But what about that other path? If pregnancy does occur, the tiny developing embryo starts producing a hormone called HCG. This is the exact hormone that pregnancy tests look for. HCG's job is basically to tell the corpus luteum, hey, stay active, keep making that progesterone, and that's what maintains the uterine lining and supports the very early stages of pregnancy.
And all of this brings us to one last really important thought. Understanding this incredibly complex cycle is one thing, but actually living with it is another. For so many people, the cycle brings regular, sometimes really debilitating periods of pain and fatigue. So the question I want to leave you with is this. How can we, as a society, better acknowledge this reality and support everyone who experiences it month after month?